Colonel Richard Kemp is the former commander of British forces in Afghanistan. Earlier, I spoke to him about the difficulty involved in mounting hostage rescue operations. I began by asking, do troops on the ground treat a journalist or a civilian rescue any differently from a military one?
No, not at all. If a British citizen or one of our allies in particular, his life is in danger and is a captive in a place like Afghanistan, then he will be looked upon in exactly the same whoever he or she may be. Every effort will be put into rescuing the person from the danger they're in, and that will apply wherever they come from.
Obviously each situation is different on the ground, but are there any consistent patterns when it comes to a kidnap or a rescue attempt?
I think the first thing that we will see happening, the minute that news comes in that somebody has been kidnapped or people think that a person's been kidnapped, is that every possible national resource available that could help in a rescue operation will be deployed, and people will start to try and find information out, as much information as possible, about where the person is, who is holding him or her, what the circumstances and conditions are. Immediately, Cobra will convene in London and start directing and coordinating that effort.
And who then authorises a rescue attempt, and what are the circumstances that go into that decision?
Well, if it involves special forces, and clearly the first option, the preferred option, is always to try and do some form of negotiation to secure the release. Not negotiation in terms of acceding to the kidnapper's demands like a ransom, but negotiation where they can be persuaded to release the hostage. But assuming that does not happen, is not possible, then if a special forces operation is to take place, it must be authorised by the Prime Minister or the Foreign Secretary or Defence Secretary on his behalf.
Obviously, the New York Times were keen to keep this, as they have been in previous situations, out of the news. It happened on Saturday, this now being Wednesday. I'm wondering, in terms of the circumstances, what do you think went into the evaluation that a rescue attempt was valid and would succeed? Well,
the key issues are really the quality of the intelligence and the information available on the location of the hostages. The other point, the second point, being proof of life. To make, there's no point in mounting a rescue operation if it's too late. And the third point being the danger and the time frame in which the hostage could be killed. And those three factors really will be the key things in considering when to launch an operation. I would estimate in this case that clearly they had accurate intelligence on the location of the individual. They knew that he and the people he was with were alive. And I guess they made an estimate that it was very likely that he would be killed quite soon, because if that hadn't been the case, it may be that such an operation would have been delayed, because these operations are always incredibly risky, no matter how well trained the special forces are, and they are very well trained. And clearly that showed in the incredibly successful operation they mounted. But these operations should be avoided where possible.